Welcome, Mr. Mukesh. So I want to start with this discussion with an understanding that how exactly do you see the growth of e-commerce industry in India?
Okay. Well, e-commerce has grown significantly in last couple of years. Based on some of the research report which came out recently. Today, e-commerce is about $10 billion industry, and what market is expecting is that's going to grow by 4 to 5x in next 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's basically growing, more than 25% year over year in some way. So it expected to be about 47 to $50 billion industry in next 3 to 4 years.
Okay. Yesterday, I believe you had some kind of roundtable conference where you invited all the top big wigs of this e-commerce industry in India. I want to understand what all things you have discussed yesterday, because I personally believe when all these such big wigs are available around the table, there are lots of insights to share.
Sure,
And I
sure.
want that if you can share
Yeah.
some of the insights with us, that
Yeah.
would be great.
So let me take a step back and set the context for why we did this event. If you recall, we launched a mobile or a retargeting platform a couple of months ago, and we have been investing our R&D efforts around building the marketing technology which can help e-commerce, online travel agents, or any performance marketers run the marketing to drive business for their portal. The goal of this event was twofold. One of our main goal is, and how we differentiate in the market is, we want to build the technology and empower marketers by giving them the products which they can use in-house. So we are building a platform which can be used by marketers in-house. So we wanted to understand people's challenges, e-commerce industry's challenges when it comes to marketing,
Okay.
and what kind of opportunities they have.
Okay.
Because we believe that in order to build a great product, you need to understand your customer's business really well.
Exactly.
You need to understand customers' challenges so that we can build the products to solve those challenges. Now the discussion was focused around two main themes, which is sort of core to what we are doing in the product space. The first one was mobile,
Okay.
and the second was how e-commerce companies are using the CRM data or the data which they have about the customers,
Okay.
whether that being transaction history or customer support data,
Okay.
and how they use that data to drive marketing for the business. So the event was participated by about 10 people, combination of big guys, horizontal players, as well as few vertical players, and we invited all the marketing heads from these companies to understand what is the state of mobile for the business,
Okay.
what they are doing for mobile marketing,
Okay.
and how they leverage the CRM data to drive the marketing for the business.
Okay.
So to take a mobile to talk about mobile a little bit, in this market, especially in India and a lot of second tier and third tier cities, mobile is growing tremendously. A lot of people are accessing internet from mobile first time. The smartphones are becoming cheaper, so basically that gives anybody opportunity to reach out to those customers through mobile websites or mobile applications. So pretty much all the e-commerce companies, one of the insight we got from this event is that all the big players, they are pushing really big time on mobile. They already have mobile applications, and their marketing spend is largely around driving the distribution of the mobile application,
Okay.
as well as increasing the engagement of the mobile application. Some players, like some small players, the vertical players, they're still figuring out what role mobile plays in driving the business.
Okay.
So companies at the different stage. There are companies who has had applications for last 6 months and have millions of install base, and there are companies who are still working on optimizing the websites for the mobile experience or in the process of building the application. Other interesting sort of data point we got from these discussions is that mobile traffic for a lot of these companies is as much as, or in some cases higher than desktop traffic. Some of the e-commerce companies are seeing up to 40 to 50% of the transactions coming from mobile.
Okay.
Now, we did a survey, before this event, we did a survey of all the e-commerce companies in India, and one fact that we found out is that there's a huge gap between mobile traffic and mobile transactions. Even though mobile traffic contributes about 40% of the overall traffic, the transactions are not that much. So the conversion rate on mobile is lower than the conversion rate e-commerce guys get on desktop website. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Anybody who doesn't have a mobile optimized experience, the conversion rate is expected to be low because the experience is not conducive to create or to discover the product or complete the transactions on mobile website. But anybody who has built the mobile optimized website or have built the mobile applications, they are seeing the gap between traffic and transactions getting filled as people get more comfortable buying on mobile phones. Second insight we got from the event is that a lot of players who launched mobile applications about 6 months ago, at the beginning they saw difference in behaviors in terms of what kind of products customer buy on mobile versus desktop, because people are not comfortable buying expensive item on mobile yet. People are still fear about they don't have a trust in mobile as a channel to purchase. But over last 6 months, as people start buying mobile more and more and they become comfortable with buying mobile, the gap between the kind of ticket size of the product people buy on mobile and the desktop is going down. Second insight, another insight is mobile is still not there in terms of making it easy for people to transact when they use credit cards or a non-COD form of payment, right? So a lot of transactions from mobile come basically are COD payments. They are not credit card or net banking kind of payments. So a lot of innovation needs to happen in terms of how e-commerce guys make it easy to conduct transactions on mobile phones or mobile applications. And given that COD is a big part of e-commerce, that is also fueling the growth in terms of mobile. Some companies also talked about how mobile has opened up a new customer segment for them. As I said, like a lot of tier 2 and tier 3 cities, people don't have desktops. People don't access internet from desktops. So these customers were not reachable for some of the big e-commerce companies. So mobile applications and making commerce easy on the mobile has enabled e-commerce guys to reach out to these tier 2, tier 3 cities where mobile is the only way people access internet.
Correct. So then this leads me to the another question what you just told me, that how exactly the mobile and especially the smartphone is playing a very vital role in this e-commerce growth. If you see the Indian scenario as of now, close to 130 million smartphone users are there. By end of quarter 2 2014, 131 million smartphone users are there in India. So, and again at the same time, if you see, around 185 million mobile internet users are there. So if you compare with the overall internet users, that is more than 250 million, this number is still very small. So smartphone users hardly 130 million, and e-commerce is still in very nascent stage, hardly 10%. If I'm not talking about ticketing here, I'm not talking about railway tickets and the flight bookings. If you see the rest of the real e-commerce, there's hardly 10% right, of the total internet users. So when so much of challenges are there, how exactly these e-commerce players are trying to handle this, solve this problem?
Yes, I think interesting stats that in the smartphone mobile users are smaller than the overall internet users. And I think the part of the reason is the definition of a smartphone is also not really clear. There are still a lot of consumers who are using feature phones or the lower end smartphones, which might not be categorized as smartphone. So there is that gap between people still using the feature phone, and as new and cheaper smartphones are coming out, that gap is going to get shortened. So you already seen a lot of companies launching cheaper, good quality smartphones. So the penetration of good quality smartphone will increase the smartphone user base. Probably it will be as good as internet user base, and will provide that opportunity for e-commerce guys to go and sell to these new segment of customers.
You also just said that most of the, if you see, the traffic is more, but actual transactions are
Mhm.
much less on the mobile.
Yeah.
I do understand the main challenge here is because of the payment gateways, on the
Yeah.
mobile payment gateways. Unlike US, where people are ready to save their credit card information on mobile,
Yeah.
and next time when they buy, so their experience, the buying experience on mobile, it's quite seamless.
Mhm.
However, in India, people are still not comfortable
Yeah.
using credit card on the internet, on desktop itself.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about mobile
Mhm.
here. So mobile number is quite, again, very, very less, very fewer.
Mhm.
So, and COD, what you mentioned, COD has got its own set of challenge because in tier B cities, if you see, some of the leading players, they are not ready to deliver products which is sizable of in value. They are not ready to deliver on COD.
Mhm.
So COD has got its own challenge.
Yeah.
Users are not willing to save their credit card information on mobile. So that is not providing a seamless experience on mobile e-commerce, or rather we will say it m-commerce.
Mhm.
So how exactly these e-commerce players,
Mhm.
considering all these factors, they are trying to solve this issue?
Yeah. So let me, put one more challenge. Why the transactions on mobile are less than desktop. So one of the challenge most of the e-commerce guys face is, what they call attribution challenge.
Mhm.
Because if you look at consumers' behavior, uh, a particular consumer might be using multiple devices.
Mhm.
They might be discovering the product on mobile phones
Okay.
and might be completing the transaction on desktop.
Okay.
So does it mean that, do you attribute that transaction to desktop
Okay.
or to both, right? So there are attribution challenges a lot of e-commerce guys face, and the kind of behavior many of the e-commerce sees is that, for a lot of these companies, discovery of the product happens on mobile phones.
Okay.
Because the mobile is more accessible. You can use it whenever you have some free time. So people browse products on mobile phones, and they might complete the transaction on desktop because that's where they feel comfortable, entering the credit card information.
Okay.
In terms of, specific to the credit card information and sort of payment challenges, I think some of these challenges needs to be solved by sort of technology providers.
Mhm.
In India specifically, payment is a challenge partly because, some of the government regulation do not allow saving the credit card information. But e-commerce companies will need to figure out how they enable these kind of new payment methods or enable payments on mobile.
Okay.
It's also about the experience. Like if you look at Indian market,
Mhm.
purchasing or making a mobile transaction is sort of it's a two-step authentication process, right? Where you need to enter the credit card number on merchant's website,
Mhm.
and then you get directed to banking website
Yeah.
to complete the final authentication,
Correct.
right? So while merchant can provide the experience in their application
Mhm.
to make it easy for people to enter payment or credit card information, but if the entire flow is not smooth,
Okay.
then it breaks the experience for the customer. So the entire ecosystem has to evolve where not just only e-commerce companies, but payment gateways or banks which authorize credit card payments,
Okay.
they also need to build the experience which can smoothen the process on the mobile phones when they go through the credit card payment process.
So was anyone from this mobile payment gateway company was also part of this particular discussion?
No, this was primarily a roundtable for e-commerce companies.
Okay.
We invited e-commerce companies, and our focus was really around marketing challenges on mobile,
Okay.
as opposed to the general challenges around mobile.
Okay.
So discussion was primarily focused on what they are doing to drive
Mhm.
transactions and the commerce on mobile.
Okay. So when you talk about mobile, not only the buying challenges, there are multiple other challenges also. Let me give you an example of, let's say, a digital advertisement where the Komali media is known for.
Yeah.
If you see the digital advertisement in 2014, in the first half of 2014, it is close to like $500 million.
Mhm.
However, if you see and in this digital media revenue, if you see social media, specifically Facebook, it's making a sizable contribution,
Mhm.
or rather I would say the biggest contribution of
Yes.
this. Now, if you see the latest report of the Facebook, when compared to the other regions, Asia is contributing the revenue per users from Asia, it is quite low as compared to the other regions. I think it is close to like $1 per user,
Yeah.
right? However, in US and all, it is close to almost like $2.50 or almost I think close to $2.75.
Yeah.
So why that particular revenue? Because in India you have more number of users. We have reports which says that India will surpass US in terms of number of internet users by end of this year. And obviously India is growing. Facebook is strategically focusing on India market, but still with all these such a big numbers, when you actually come down to the revenue, we are lagging much behind than US, UK, or US and Europe and all. Why is that so?
Yes, if you look at how the digital media ecosystem works, especially if you talk about Facebook, it is not a fixed price market. The pricing of media is based on demand and supply.
Okay.
Because when you run a campaign on Facebook, you are basically bidding how much you are willing to pay,
Okay.
and based on that, you get to serve ad on Facebook, right?
Okay.
So if you look at Indian ecosystem, on the supply side, we believe that there is generous supply of inventory on Facebook because there are 100 million Facebook active users
Okay.
who are actively using Facebook on mobile. But on the demand side, even though Indian digital marketing industry is growing, it is not as big as US or Europe.
Okay.
I mean, the US digital marketing is, I don't have exact number, but it's probably 10 to 20x more than
Okay.
Indian digital marketing. So in order to generate more revenue per user for the Facebook, the demand has to match supply.
Okay.
Right? When the demand for space on Facebook goes up, the prices of inventory on Facebook will go up, and that will in turn increase the revenue per user for Facebook. The second factor is, like if you look at just the general CPM trends,
Okay.
the general CPM in India, and CPM is the cost per impression or 1,000 impressions. The average CPM in India are about what we see is anywhere from 20 cents to 40-50 cents. As opposed to some of the developed market, the cost of inventory is 5 to 10x. The CPM in US could be like $2 to $2.5. So that also contributes to how much revenue per user any publisher can draw.
Okay.
And third factor is when you look from the performance perspective, like ROI perspective, the overall like Indian market, if you look at Indian e-commerce market, average basket size for an Indian consumer is not as big as, or is probably significantly lower than the average basket size of a consumer in developed market like US or Europe.
Okay.
And marketers wants to run the marketing at profit.
Okay.
So if the transaction size is smaller, they cannot afford to pay a lot of money
Okay.
on marketing or spend a lot of money on marketing
Okay.
to drive transactions, right?
Okay.
So that also contributes to why the cost of marketing or the revenue publishers get per user
So are you
is
trying to
lower.
say that in India the marketers are really not seeing any value in digital marketing as the marketers?
No, it's not
in
about
US?
value. It's about value in terms of your ROI, right?
Yes.
So if you are if a consumer is going to just spend, let's say, $100 in a month,
Okay.
you can only spend so much to acquire that consumer or to market to that consumer.
Okay.
As opposed to if the purchasing power of the consumer is $1,000 a month,
Okay.
you have more leverage in spending more money to
Okay.
acquire and retain that customer.
Okay.
So it's not about whether digital marketing has value or not.
Okay.
In general, in emerging market, the spending habits are different than in the developed market.
Yeah.
So marketers has to plan their marketing spend based on how much value they get out of consumer.
Okay. But don't you feel that this could be optimized? I believe Comly Media as well as the other organizations in the similar industry, they have got a system called RTV, right?
Yeah.
Which they're using it. However, the penetration of again the RTV in India, in Asia specifically, is not that great because
Yeah.
there is a very nascent stage. But this is one way which which could be used to optimize their revenue even for publishers as well as for the advertisers.
Yeah, so that is happening, right? When you think about RTB or even the Facebook example I gave, right?
Yeah.
If it was a non-RTB system or a fixed price system, the Facebook or any marketing channel could become unaffordable for Indian marketers.
Okay.
If Facebook comes and say, we are going to sell our inventory at $1 CPM or $2 CPM,
Okay.
a fixed price market,
Okay.
then I don't think Indian marketers can afford that kind of
But again,
pricing.
the online advertisement doesn't run alone only the CPM.
Yeah.
It also runs on CPC, and RTB doesn't work on CPC, I believe.
Well, at the end of the day, there's a media cost, right?
Okay.
Whether the media cost is a CPM or it's a media cost ultimately drives, the cost per click or cost per acquisition, right? And for Indian marketers, the whole RTB, coming back to the RTB system is driving that efficiency where, if the demand and supply gap is huge, if there's a lot of supply and, less demand, then RTB system basically makes it efficient in the sense you can buy the inventory cheaper.
Okay.
Because RTB system is able to sort of identify that gap between supply and demand. It's an efficient marketplace where if fewer players are competing for the inventory, then you have a chance of buying the inventory cheaper, right?
Okay.
If there are a lot of players competing for the inventory, the competition is high, it basically jacks up the prices of inventory.
Okay.
So, in Indian market, RTB has grown significantly,
Okay.
and RTB is already driving that efficiency in buying media for a lot of marketers.
Okay. So coming back to the e-commerce, now let's talk about the big players like Jabong, Flipkart, and Snapdeals. If you see lately, they have made few acquisitions as well as they have been funded, and it's a good amount. So, however, if you see that most of the time, ultimately, it is the end consumer who is the ultimate winner because of the competition, they're getting the product at a very, very low cost. Even some of the cases, these stores are bound to sell the product at the losses, right? So the growth which is happening, which these stores are accepting the losses and then they're growing, how do you see this growth?
It's basically, in any business, as the ecosystem matures, the inefficiencies goes down, right? So that's what you see in the e-commerce space also.
Okay.
Take example of any vertical player like, Zovi or, Yapme. These guys own the entire experience for the consumer, right? They have their white label products, they own the design, they own manufacturing. So the traditional ecosystem where you are getting products designed by somebody else, you're getting product manufactured by somebody else, and then it's coming through 3 or 4 layers of distribution, wholesalers, retailers, everybody is sort of taking their margin.
Okay.
And when that chain is shrunk to 1 or 2 players, if there are no middlemen, ultimately the system becomes efficient, and it gives benefit to consumers.
Okay.
Right? So now you can go to an e-commerce company or some of these vertical websites and buy a nice looking t-shirt for 300 rupees, and they're able to provide that because they own the entire chain in the ecosystem.
Okay.
But if you buy the same thing from a retailer or some small shop, there are 3-4 middlemen who are taking the margins.
Okay.
So the cost of the product is going to be more for the consumer, right?
Okay.
So ultimately, as the ecosystem grows, ecosystem become more efficient. It is driving benefit to the end consumers in some way.
As you rightly said, obviously, if the person who is manufacturing the product, so let's talk about the apparel over here. Apparel has got almost like 25% of the market of the total e-commerce revenue as of now. If you see, like companies like Flipkart, Jabong, they are behaving like an e-tailers, right? They do not have their own manufacturing units. However, if you see Zovi and few other, even yesterday, Arvind Mills also have joined with their own e-store with Create. So when such type of manufacturers are directly start competing with these e-tailers, so where exactly this will lead to the market, because they do not have control over the production. However, the other manufacturing units, the companies who manufacture product in-house, and then they're launching their own e-stores, so obviously they will be having a better grip over the market than Flipkart, Jabong, and so many other players like that. So how do you see this scenario?
Well, I mean, I'm not an expert in sort of e-commerce logistics. I mean, my business is basically marketing,
Okay.
building the great marketing product, and making it easier for e-commerce guys to reach out to their customers,
Okay.
right? So I can't really comment on logistics and how the logistics works in e-commerce, how e-tailers will compete with Arvind Mills kind of guys.
Okay.
But what I can say is that e-commerce across the world, if you look at even US market, e-commerce has made the overall ecosystem more efficient. If you look at Amazon, Amazon started as a book reseller, and they basically reduced the cost of taking that book from a publisher to the consumer significantly, because they have low overheads. They don't have to pay rents for
But can we
spaces.
really compare Amazon and Flipkart? Because if you see, most of the revenue for Amazon is coming from digital services and goods. However, for Flipkart and eBay, this is not the scenario.
So I wouldn't say most of the revenue for Amazon comes from digital goods and services. Amazon is a pretty big company, and I mean they basically sell a lot of physical goods too. I mean they are growing in the digital goods space, with the AWS and a few other products they offer, but they are still a pretty big size.
Because if you see in US, the reading
physicals.
habits is much more mature than India. So people they
That's
buy-
the evolution of
Yeah.
ecosystem, right? I mean, they started as a physical sort of booksellers. They would sell physical books, and the overall publishing industry is moving electronically. So they are just growing along with that ecosystem change or change in the industry. The same thing you can say about the video consumption habits. If you look at Netflix, which is one of the largest streaming service in US, I mean they started the business with selling DVDs or renting out DVDs. They would mail you DVDs, but as people's viewing habits have changed, they have evolved and they have transitioned from mailing DVDs to streaming videos online, right?
Okay.
So that's more of an evolution of how industry is evolving and how goods and services are delivered.
Okay.
And some of these guys are leading those trends and making it easy for consumers to make those services and goods available.
Okay. So now you also said that yesterday you had a discussion on the CRM part.
Yeah.
How much CRM plays a role in these e-stores? Because if you see majority of these e-stores, they are highly focused on the back-end activities as well as marketing and selling and all.
Yeah.
Some of the technology comes from a different company as an outsource,
Yeah.
tools for them. But then when you come to CRM, how this particular tool plays a role in their growth?
Yeah.
Because many times again the CRM is coming from the third party, or very fewer companies are there who are building in-house CRM.
Yeah.
So how do you see this?
So let me define the CRM broadly, right? CRM can mean just a system where somebody calls you and you take the call and log the record and manage that sort of post sales service of customer.
Okay.
But CRM is really bigger than that. CRM is really all about what do you know about your customers
Okay.
and how you can leverage that information in optimizing the experience for your customers,
Okay.
in delivering the right products and services,
Okay.
making discovery easy for customers,
Okay.
and reaching out to those customers effectively, right? That's the CRM. It's basically understanding the customer
Whole customer. Yeah.
and leveraging that information to manage the life cycle of customers.
Okay.
Now, e-commerce or any online property is well positioned to understand customer better than any brick and mortar store.
Okay.
When you go to a brick and mortar store, you go in the store, you walk out the store, there's no information about who you are, what kind of products you were looking for, how many items you have purchased in the past.
Okay.
There's no information because there's no way to track your visit in a brick and retail store.
Okay.
As opposed to the e-commerce, when you go to Flipkart or Jabong, every time you go to the website, you do some browsing, you look at some products, you're leaving behind some footprints,
Okay.
you're leaving behind some data,
Okay.
and e-commerce companies are better positioned to leverage that data in understanding consumers' behavior,
Okay.
optimizing experience for their consumers,
Okay.
and optimizing the marketing spend to drive business
Okay.
or ROI.
Okay.
So compared to brick and mortar store, uh, e-commerce store has a lot more data assets which they can use to improve the overall life cycle of a customer.
Okay. So I want to close this discussion with the question that do you really see, because we have already seen there are enough of players already in the market in the e-commerce space in India specifically, and we still know that e-commerce industry is very nascent stage in India. However, the kind of marketing, the kind of competition which is there in the market, it's like cutthroat competition. As I said that many of the stores they are selling products at the very very cheap cost. Even some of the stores they're selling at the cost,
Yeah.
and some are also accepting some of the losses. Do you think still there is a window, opportunity window for the other players to come in and join?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you my personal view here. Again, speaking as a non-e-commerce, a person.
No, but I'm talking from the marketing point
Marketing
of view,
perspective,
yeah.
definitely, right? So, I mean, we started with e-commerce growth, and numbers are there. A lot of researchers are publishing reports that e-commerce is going to grow up by 4 or 5 times in the next few years. So, in terms of new players, I don't think that there are going to be many big horizontal players.
Okay.
I mean, you got Flipkart, you got Amazon, you got eBay.
Mhm.
So there are 2 or 3 big players which are going to
Exactly.
be the leader in the market. But there's still opportunity for vertical e-commerce.
Okay.
You already see some innovation in things like there are fashion retailers, Zoe, Yapme. There are jewelry retailers like Karat Lane or Bluestone.
Yeah.
So there's still opportunity for new entrants to come and provide better collection, better services within specific vertical segment, right? And certainly the segment has to be big enough, because e-commerce makes sense when there's a scale.
Yeah.
If the segment itself is not big enough, then e-commerce might not be an efficient way to grow business.
Correct.
So you will see new entrants in vertical spaces, but I don't expect any new players to come and become a leader as a horizontal e-commerce.
Okay. But that means there is a possibility
Yeah.
that other players could come in, or they may not be scaled up that large like as a big player Flipkart
Yeah.
and all, but yes, there is still a room.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah, I think one interesting aspects of Indian industry is, I mean, if you look at offline retail, offline retail is still 97-98%, right?
exactly.
And a lot of this retail is driven by your local kirana stores. So there is opportunities for new players to enable these kirana stores to come online and enable new market opportunities for them, right? So that's I think untapped opportunity right now, and I think some of the guys are building platforms which enable small businesses to sell online.
Okay.
I mean, e-commerce guys like Snapdeal, they are enabling marketplaces, but there's still a scope for technology companies to provide the technologies for kirana stores to go online or be part of the ecosystem.
So there is a long road ahead to go,
Yeah.
though we have few of the challenges, but at the same time we have a large opportunity window for lots of small players especially.
Absolutely.
Right. Thanks a lot, Mukesh. Thanks for the time, and hope that we will see much more development and new players in this e-commerce space.
Definitely.
Right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot. Thanks for your time.